So if you're about to buy a home or you plan on buying a home one day and you want to know the 9 tips that are going to help you be as successful as possible, then this is absolutely the video for you. I'm a real estate investor and a real estate broker here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I consulted with financial professionals, mortgage lenders, and other real estate investors that I know to create this top list of 9. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot more home buying tips, but I tried to simplify it as much as possible so you can get the 9 core elements of buying a house. And in case you don't know me, my name's Davin. I help people invest in real estate and I make videos on it. So let's get going. So tip number 1 is going to be build your team. People and experts are absolutely going to be assets when you're buying a house. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the negotiation table, so make sure you hire a team that is going to be in your best favor. A good realtor who signs a buyer-broker relationship with you and introduces you to a good, solid lender, not just the guy at your bank that writes the loan. I mean an actual mortgage lender or multiple mortgage lenders, insurance professionals, tax professionals, financial planners, estate planning attorneys. A really good realtor has an expansive network of people as well as contractors that can help you fix your home when anything comes your way. And the reason why this is tip number 1 is we are going to build from here. So if you are not going to be working and building on your team, the rest of the tips I honestly can't help you with. So make sure that you're a coachable person. Don't just believe any random person on the street. So definitely be skeptical of any expert and make sure that they truly have your best interest in mind. Number 2, set a budget. A budget is the most important part of looking at a home. Too many people, they'll contact their realtor and they'll say, hey, can you show me this house? Without setting a proper budget, how do you even know you can afford that house? And you could even afford a lot more house, which actually might be more in line with your long-term real estate goals. It's actually a lot better to buy a slightly more expensive house that you can afford that is gonna match your 10, 20, 30-year real estate and lifestyle goals than it is to buy a house that's really cheap that you're only going to live in for a few years. Unless, of course, you might be a seasoned investor, in which case you probably shouldn't be watching this video because this is about 9 tips for first-time home buyers. Number 3 is to know your credit score. Your credit score is absolutely vital because it can actually be used to negotiate lower interest rates, not just in your home loan, but you might have other outstanding loans that could be refinanced and consolidated, and make sure that you are on the path towards success. If you have a bad credit score, a lot of people can help you repair your credit score, and a good realtor should probably know a good credit repair person. And in general, a lot of real estate agents and loan officers, if they're good and experienced at their job, they will have some experience with letting you know some advice as far as building your credit score back up. I can tell you really quickly here, just making your payments on time is probably the biggest issue most people have. So make sure that you do not take on too much debt. Don't take on any extra debt between now and when you're gonna buy a home, and make sure that you make those payments on time, and you'll probably be a lot better off than most people. Number 4 is to understand PMI. PMI is for private mortgage insurance that applies to loans over an 80% LTV. What that means is when you sign up for that FHA loan versus that 5% conventional loan, there will be PMI on both, but one of them is removable and one of them can only be removed through refinancing. And now a lot of people might say that PMI is this unnecessary bill that's just tacked on to their mortgage payment, and they simply don't understand what they're even paying. I can't cover all the details today, but make sure you actually get a good education from your lender. Remember how we said we were going to build off that team? Your lender is absolutely going to be vital for you to understand if PMI is going to be a beneficial element of your loan or if you should be putting a higher down payment down. Step number 5 is to save as much money as possible. Remember how I said how all these tips build upon each other? Well, this is absolutely relevant. Not only will your financial planner, your realtor, your loan officer, right, your tax professional, they're all going to tell you to save as much as possible when you are buying a home. In general, having a lot of money sitting around in a savings account not working is generally a bad thing, except for when you're about to invest in real estate. The more money you have in the bank, the more options you're going to have when choosing financial options. So you might determine that for your particular investment strategy, you do not want any PMI. You do not want to pay for that. And so you would have to put down a higher down payment in order to make sure that you do not have PMI on your insurance. It's just a simple fact that having more money in the bank is going to give you more loan options. And if your financial planner or loan officer tell you that you should not be paying PMI, that you should be putting a little bit more money down based on your financial strategy in order to reduce your mortgage payment, then you would never have that option unless you were saving as much money as humanly possible. And even if you cannot afford to put 20% down, even if you could just simply afford 5% down versus 3.5% down, you at least have the chance of qualifying for that removable PMI that a lot of people definitely want when they are expecting higher interest rates in the future. Now, again, I'm not going to go into details, but in general, having at least 5% down gives you way more options than only having 3.5% down. Unless you're a veteran, in which case you're pretty lucky, which you get a 0% down loan for essentially no extra PMI. I've talked about on this channel why the VA loan is the best loan in existence. And let's move on forward onto number 6. Number 6 is to buy sooner rather than later. Now, a lot of people don't understand why you'd want to buy sooner rather than later. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. And statistically speaking, you will be more successful if you buy sooner rather than later. There are reasons to wait for very specific reasons, but in general, the type of people that wait because they cannot afford a home is because they cannot afford a home today, and they could only afford a home if the prices drop drastically. These are people typically with bad habits, and they don't see a long-term value in their home. So when I say buy sooner rather than later, I mean if you can afford to buy it today, start the process now and make sure that you actually can afford it. We'll obviously cover this strategy further in depth in later videos on why you always want to do this, but it's just a generic rule of thumb. Number 7 is a funny one that I throw in there, but it's to be lucky. And a lot of other investors will actually agree. If you're looking for a good deal on a house, you will eventually find it. If you're working with a realtor who is a little bit pushy and they don't understand your needs and they're just trying to move you along in the process, that's probably a bad thing, and you're probably not going to be able to get a good deal, which is why I emphasized on the number 1, build your team. This is not like talk to any random salesman on the phone and let them sell you something. This is like build something with some intention, because if you're out there looking really hard, you will find a deal in any market. Number 8 is to not buy anything too damaged or too fixed up. Now, I know this is and this is not positive advice, but buy something that has some slight character. It shows some wear and tear, but it's not completely trashed, like no copper wiring has been removed, no plumbing has been removed. It hasn't been a house that's been used for drugs or any of that kind of manufacturing. Like, you want something that's in fairly good condition. You also don't want something that's super rehabbed with brand new paint, brand new cabinets, and all these other things, because generally they're trying to cover up some of the flaws that might be in the house. So just be very, very careful on buying houses that are overly fixed up for a beginner. And I do want to mention for number 8, if you are selling a house, absolutely fix up your house and make it look as pretty as possible, because that's how people overpay for your house. But do not be the person that is overpaying for the house. Just want to make that clear. I want you to win. Number 9 is to think long term. Now, I've mentioned this little key element in some of the other elements, so I did put it at the end just because, like I said, everything does build upon each other. If you're thinking long term, then you're going to build a good team. You're going to save money on a good deal. You're going to do all the other 9 steps. But when I say think long term, I mean just to have a strategy. And with that strategy, understand that there's delayed gratification. You're not going to just instantly buy a home and change your life. It is absolutely a life-changing event. It can be very stressful. There's a lot of things going on. But once you make that decision, it will take time for it to pay off. But in general, real estate is one of the best investments that you can make. And so I highly encourage you to start your home journey on the right track. And I would love to see you in our future videos. You can actually get in contact with my business, and I can introduce you to any realtor in the entire country. And you'll notice there's a meeting link down below. It's for an hour, but you'll only need about 15 minutes of my time. So go ahead and book if you want a consultation with me, and I will make sure that you are successful with your first home purchase. Thank you and have a great day.